How's it hanging, YouTubes? Peter here, your ginger Geordie geek. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of This Is My. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that like and subscribe. And if you've not seen this show before, this is where I meet somebody from the collecting community and we'll get to know a little bit more about them and also have a little look-see at their collectibles. Now, we've had all kinds of interesting people on this show so far, showing all kinds of really cool collectibles. But, ladies and gents, I am particularly excited tonight because tonight's guest has got a very particular penchant for artwork, original sketches and things like that. And I'm hoping we're going to see some sexy imagery. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jason, the patron of comic art. Jason, how are you?
Go on. How are you?
You good?
Very good. Very excited.
Good stuff. First things, Jason, I think you're my first proper New Yorker I've had on, and I have to say the accent's doing it is tremendous. So I'm looking forward to talking to you.
When people ask me if I want coffee, then they know.
Coffee. Tremendous. So Jason, you are a lovely chap who I've seen about on Instagram for a good while now, showing off some incredible collectibles. Now, before we went live, my little beady eyes were automatically drawn to some of the images behind you there, which I'm hoping you're going to show off a little bit later on, because, dear Lord, that forehead shot is a bloody beaut. It looks stunning. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. Just before we start, Jason, I just want to quickly say hello to a few of the guys in the chat. We've got Dr. Von Hoot. Always nice to see you, Dr. Von Hoot. I hope you're well. We've got my pal James from MJ Comics. Again, always good to see you. And we've got Deadman in the chat. Always good to see you, Deadman. Saying I've had a tidy. I've moved my Hulkbuster, Deadman, because I have done a little room tour video today and I wanted the Hulkbuster to feature in it. So that'll be coming out soon. Okay, Jason, enough prattle from me. This is all about you. We're going to really delve deep and find out what makes you tick. And we're going to start off with a nice straightforward question for you. Tell us your backstory. What got you into comic books at first? But then I'm really interested in what drew you towards the kind of the original artwork, because I'm imagining you're going to tell me later on, but that's not a cheap hobby, is it?
It's not, but you don't have to spend a fortune to start collecting original artwork. And that's one of the first things I wanted to tell people anytime they ask about it, because I think it gets to be almost a lot for someone. They think, oh, how am I going to get any of this? Is it impossible? It's not. It's just a matter of doing it the right way, frugally, as best as you can within your budget. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your comic book journey. What got you into comics to start with?
Well, I was a kid of the 70s and 80s. And so I was raised on a lot of the cartoons that came out at that time, as well as the TV shows and movies at that time. So, for example, you know, the Superman, the movie 1 and 2. Then you had reruns of Batman 66 on TV at the time, playing daily when I was a kid. And then on Saturday morning cartoons, which, you know, if you're old enough, you remember, there were some great cartoons. I'm in New York City, so on Channel 2, they would show a block of cartoons that ranged from Flash Gordon to Black Star to Zorro to Lone Ranger. So I got into Westerns in that realm. Meanwhile, I got the superheroes, you know, Challenge of the Super Friends and whatnot. And then someone, I don't remember how it happened, someone gave me a stack, like a big stack of comics for free. And I was so excited. I wanted to share that excitement. So I went to a supermarket and just like gave out all the comics.
Oh, wow.
And I just love the experience of sharing the comics and seeing all these colors and characters. And it wasn't until Batman 1989 that I started collecting books. My mother got me 2 comics. One was Death in the Family, the trade paperback. And then there was an Batman Annual 13. I remember the cover being Batman in the snow. Right. But that just started the ball rolling. And I've been collecting for a good chunk since. I had a gap in between, but I got back into comics, then CGC books, and then signed books. And then I gravitated towards original artwork. So right now I'm mainly doing key issues, key covers I love. Some runs I like, and then original artwork ranging from published pages to just commissions from big names you know and love.
Yeah. Amazing. And we're going to see some of them tonight, so I'm excited about that. It's interesting because I'm a child of the late 70s, early 80s, and we often talk on this channel about some of the cartoons that kind of influenced those early years. But interestingly, some of the stuff you've listed there, I don't think I saw. So we didn't see kind of the Flash. Well, we saw Defenders of the Earth, but we didn't see standalone Flash Gordon. We didn't see Zorro and things like that.
Yeah, well, that was from the same creators of He-Man.
Ah, right.
So before He-Man, there was a cartoon series called Black Star. It was essentially the same story, but with different characters. So they just transposed that to He-Man, and that became the huge juggernaut that still reigns today, as opposed to no one's ever seen a new Black Star cartoon or issue of toys. But a lot of those were American based. Yeah, that's true.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, got a couple of people joining as well. Just want to say hello to Rogue One Photography. Nice to see you, bud. Hope you're well, Phil. And we've got Captain UK. Good evening to you as well, bud. Dr. Von Hoots is saying Filmation cartoons.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
And we've got John in the chat. Nice to see you, John. Hope you're well, bud. Okay, so let's start off. Show her one of your items, bud, that you brought along to show her tonight.
So I'm going to show something that an ex-girlfriend got me that I just added like crazy towards. Before I appreciated, I only, at the time when I was collecting, I just liked comics. And then she bought me this book. And then I didn't realize how rare it was. And then years later, I've been adding signatures ever since. It's called Batman Animated.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love that cover. Yeah.
So with this one, what happened was they released this, and it was never, from what I understand, it was never reprinted because there's a lot of rights issues to it.
Yeah.
So if you find this in a wild and near mint condition, get it. If you get it at a good price, great. But a lot of these get flipped for a lot of money. So I had the book as it was, just raw, untouched. And then slowly but surely, I started attending conventions. And so I would see, for example, Bruce Timm,
yeah,
Kevin Altieri, Poison Ivy, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, I love Kevin Conroy.
I forget who this is. This might be I've Bullock. He showed up at a convention called Terrificon.
Right, yeah.
I have the person who played Robin. He's currently in the new cabaret show in Broadway right now.
Okay, yeah.
The Riddler.
I love the question mark underneath.
All right.
Yeah.
This is Lord, her name eludes me, but she was the voice director and voice casting director.
Right.
So she showed up to a lot of the Adrian Andrea Romano. There you go. That's her name. And then Bruce Timm.
Stunning.
Who this one is, but the second person to do the voiceover for what's his name? Scarecrow.
All right.
When they revamped the series again.
Yeah.
They had revamped versions of the characters, and Scarecrow looked like, a bodybuilding,
yeah,
kind of type. They had a different actor do the voiceover, and he was at Terrificon, I want to say a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And so I was able to get all those signatures on top of that book. And so
that's stunning. Absolutely stunning. And you got all those signatures yourself?
I did, by myself. Yes. And at a variety of different shows. Prior to the pandemic, there was a show called the East Coast Comic Con that would be in Secaucus, New Jersey. And so they would host a lot of shows. It was a small mom and pop show, but it was really well done. They had a lot of big names, a lot of classic creators, as well as celebrities doing signings. And in one of them, a good majority of the cast and crew for the Batman the Animated Series showed up. And I was just like, I have to get them to sign it. So
that's an absolutely phenomenal piece. I absolutely love it. And I don't know if I've shared this story before, but I'm going to tell my little Kevin Conroy story. So many, many years ago, I must have only been maybe 16 or 17 or something like that. I went to Birmingham Exhibition Centre or something, and there was a Comic Con on. I went with my uncle, and Kevin Conroy was there. And I have to say, I didn't know who he was, because back then,
Yeah.
I didn't pay much attention to the voice actors on the cartoons, you know. But I spotted he had a load of Batman prints, and he had a beautiful print of the original Batman and Batman Beyond. And I think there was another Batman on it. And anyway, he said he was the voice of Batman. So I went over and he signed it for us and stuff. But the thing that stands out for us was I've never met such an enthusiastic, nice guy. He just was just so charming, and so you like Batman, and he just talked, and he was just an absolute. I think that's probably my first comic book kind of related celebrity experience. You know, he was just lovely, lovely.
Really, really nice guy. You know, when I went to that show, there was a package deal where if you got everybody to sign the book, you would get the photo for free with everybody. So
Yeah,
I ended up taking advantage of that. But I would see him at different shows, and I've got another book I'll show later that's e-signed, and I mean I've got in total about, I want to say 9 books signed by him,
yeah,
a variety of different forms in terms of like his work on Batman the Animated Series, his Justice League work, as well as the video game work he did later
yeah,
on.
yeah. Tremendous man, tremendous man. I'm just going to quickly jump to the chat. Highland G, Hulkbuster's looking a bit worse for wear today. Yeah, it's been replaced with a Castle Grayskull and a Boglin. So yeah, no, thanks. I hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. MJ Comics is saying that book is amazing. Jack saying that's absolutely amazing. Dr. Von Hoot, I've got to get a Kevin Conroy signature. Yeah, yeah. And MJ came to Birmingham when you didn't visit. Shame. It was about 20 years too early, MJ. I didn't even know you. You probably weren't even born, MJ, at that point. Okay, now Jason, this is a question that I sometimes get a bit of grief from, because people say, "Oh, I can't pick one," but I'm interested. If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your days, what's it gonna be?
It's hard just because it's like there's so many good ones. I was thinking about this. Like, if you were to ask me what my favorite, I would say I'll tell you my favorite. I'll see it every once in a while, but I won't see it all the time.
Yeah.
North by Northwest.
Wow. Yeah.
And the only reason I mention that is because I'd never seen it before. I'm a big Bond fan, and so
Yeah.
I love those films, even the cheesy ones. And so when I saw that film, it felt like a precursor to Bond in the sense that I know there were the novels, but Cary Grant was originally supposed to be considered, and he didn't want to do it. He just wanted to do, I think, one film, and that's it. And so they moved on to someone else, eventually being, Sean Connery. But I could see the producers being sold on him with that film, just because it's so iconic. It's a man on the run.
Yeah.
You know what's going on, and so the audience is with him on that journey. It's so well done. It's beautiful. You have not seen it, check it out. It's like,
yeah, I don't think I've seen that one for, again, a good 10, 20 years, maybe. It's not one I watch. Yeah.
It's iconic. You have all this iconic imagery people don't remember anymore, but back in the day.
Yeah. So you mentioned Bond there. I'm obviously I'm a Brit, so we've got to be fans of Bond. It's part of the law. But the last Bond movie kind of ended beautifully, I thought. I'm a bit nervous about them bringing him back, to be honest. What do you think?
I didn't mind him. In that series of films with Daniel Craig, I think the first one was the best one. That's right. I don't like people like Skyfall. That was just not for me. I saw this last. I thought it was all right. It was an interesting ending for him because it kind of closed the book on him being that person in that series of films. And you think, they're redoing it. They always just like go on with it, but with a new person. And my wish to the gods, whoever hears this, ideally, what those producers should be doing is saying to the biggest directors in Hollywood, this is your chance to do your version of Bond, one and done.
Yeah.
Go to town. Like, throw out, keep some staples, but like, imagine seeing, one done by Christopher Nolan, one done by Steven Spielberg, and just try it out and just see. Yeah. Either that or a TV series. I think one of those avenues would be much more beneficial than what is currently being done. I mean, I love movies like anybody else, but not many people are going these days.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's kind of what they try to do, I guess, with the Mission Impossible series, isn't it? Try something different for each movie at the start. It's not ended up like that. With Bond, for me, I've always kind of been quite drawn to the fan idea, I guess, that James Bond and the 007 title is literally just that, it's a title. And that all of these movies are kind of continuing on just with the next James Bond, you know?
Yeah.
I've quite liked that. Dr. Von Hoot is just saying Casino Royale was definitely the best. I did enjoy Casino Royale. But for me, you can't beat a bit of Sean Connery, I have to say. Skyfall is good, mind you. I like Suave Bond over new grittier Bond. Yeah, you like a bit of Roger Moore, Hyman G. He's quite suave, isn't he? Yeah, he's and you know what? Again, going back and watching the Bonds, you see, I am a bit of a Bond fan.
Yeah.
George Lazenby was superb. You know, for that one movie he got, I thought it was a good, strong film.
There's a good documentary about that's on Hulu that I recommend checking out if you've not looked at it. It's about his life, his time trying to be Bond, and why he didn't continue with the series. It's really well done. If you've not seen it, it's on Hulu. Highly recommend that documentary.
Okay, I'll check that one out. Okay, mate, show us something else that you've brought along tonight.
So, since you mentioned this artwork here, it's going to be a surprise. It's 2-in-1. Boom.
Oh, wow. That's stunning.
So, I'll give you the story with this one first. So what happened was I had never seen him at a convention doing commissions.
Yeah.
And so I'm part of a group called Clan McDonald. And Clan McDonald is a group on Facebook that does a lot of art sales, comic books, etc. They'll go to conventions, and if you want them to pick up signatures or whatever, they'll do that for you for a fee.
Okay.
And so they are in connection with Spencer Beck. Spencer Beck is the art dealer and rep for the Ramitas and a bunch of other people, including Walt Simonson, Bob Layton, etc. And so there was a portion of this was years ago where they were offering head sketches for I think this was $150.
Wow.
But again, I'm gonna explain. So the pencils were $150. I'm like, all right, cool. And then they didn't offer at the time, but I wanted to ink it on the art as well.
Yeah.
So I contacted Scott Hanna directly, and he charged me just $100 to ink it directly. Yeah. So I sent that to him. He inked it. I got it back. A friend of mine on a Captain America fan page had some artwork like this that was painted by Bob Sharon. Bob Sharon was a Marvel colorist for many years, and so I think he lives in Jersey right now, but he takes commissions. I asked for my friend. He told me about it. I'm like, and I contacted Bob through Facebook. Bob's like, yeah, I'll color it, and he charged me $100 for that. And that's where this baby came in. So I didn't want to color directly on the artwork.
Yeah.
So he's like, send me, I forget what PSI he wanted me to send this to him. So I went to like a Kinko's and sent it to him, and he colored it. This is hand colored.
That's stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite rendition of Thor as well. That went from when John Romita was doing the Thor run for a while. I love it.
I'm going to show you something related to that shortly. So
okay, good stuff. I mean, they are absolutely stunning, and it's an interesting question actually. I've had a few sketch covers done myself at various cons and things like that, and you know, don't get us wrong, they're always stunning. I always really enjoy them, but I do quite often look at them and think, I wish they had a lick of colour on them somewhere. But I've never really taken that step to take it to a colorist. How easy is it to do that? Is that easily organized?
It for me, I'm very particular who colors.
Yeah.
I know there's some inkers that color. In my view, some don't know how to color, but they know how to ink. Just like they know how to ink, but not exactly draw. Some can do it, all of it. The person that can do all of it that I can vouch for just because his art's amazing is Ron Friends.
Okay.
Like if you go through Catskill Comics, he's got a huge wait list, but he's usually quicker if you're at a convention with him. He'll take your order and do it, but his coloring's amazing. But you'd have to be very particular with who can do it. I would say with colorists who color.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do an inker who colors. Just I know some people do. I personally don't.
Yeah.
So it really depends on who they are, what they do. I would do some research before hiring them. So when I saw my friend's artwork, I was like, "Whoa, who did that?" And he told me it was Bob Sharon, and he's taking commissions. I was sold because he did it beautifully. I ended up getting 5 John Romita Jr. headshots because I didn't know if I was ever going to see him in person. And I was just like, let me bang it out, get my favorite characters. I'm done. Don't have to worry about getting artwork from him again. Which later on I ended up getting more. But I ended up doing that and then getting 5 color headshots of different characters ranging from Spider-Man, Daredevil, Wolverine, and then Punisher.
Superb. What we'll do, Jason, if you don't mind, after the show, Jason will drop the link for that. The what did you say it was called? Is it something fish? The organised the art dealers that you were talking about earlier.
That was Clan McGregor.
Clan McGregor. Drop us the link for Clan McGregor, and we'll put it in the description of the video, so people can keep a little eye on it. Because, like I was saying to you earlier, sometimes in the UK, trying to get a hold of original artwork is challenging. We rely on eBay and things like that. Yeah. So to have a few links like that would be really helpful. We'll stick it in the comments.
I'll send you a few.
You're brilliant. Von Hoot is saying Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton were my favourites. I love Timothy Dalton. Recently. Sorry.
I was going to say that first Timothy Dalton one was a decent Bond film. I wasn't crazy about the second one that delved into drugs. I'm like, okay, we're good. Yeah. But I mean, that first one was really well done.
Yeah. I recently rewatched Timothy Dalton in a movie. I'm sure you've seen The Rocketeer. And he's stunning in that.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I was just like, he killed that role.
Yeah, you were superb. Okay, next question for you, bud. Claim to fame. Do you have a claim to fame? Something that can be a celebrity encounter, or have you ever been on TV or anything like that? What's your claim to fame?
Have I ever been? Well, I mean, the funny thing about this city is you can bump into celebrities without planning it. Like, I was taking this girl I'm seeing. This was a few months ago. Actually, no, it was last year. We did an impromptu pizza walk. So she wasn't too familiar with the city and the great pizza spots you can go to. So I was like, let's bang it out. Let's do it. Yeah. And in the process of doing that, we come out of a place called John's Pizzeria, and right around Bleecker in Greenwich Village. And then I turn around, and there's none other than Christopher Nolan.
Wow.
Family. Just eating pizza. Yeah. I'm not the type to go up to people and ask for autographs and pictures. I don't want to bother someone when they're in there. But then I see 2 other people bothering you without taking photos of them. And this is the weekend that Oppenheimer was opening. And so I love, I like 2/3 of the trilogy that he made for Batman, the Dark Knight. And I should have, but I didn't have the nerve to.
But you didn't? You didn't?
I didn't. I wish I did.
Did you not do a sneaky photo? Did you not do
I know some people do that, but I can't. I mean, I was good. Part of me wanted to do that with Steranko because I brought some books. I brought a book for him to sign, and there were 2 other books I already had signed, so I was hoping to get a photo with all of them. And he's like, I need photos. So I respected that. I wasn't going to force it. Yeah. But, I mean, there have been situations like that. I'll bump into a celebrity like that. I was an extra in one film many years ago.
Oh, right.
I mean, there's little things here and there throughout the city that you would be surprised happen. So.
Yeah. I have to say, New York is on my bucket list. I've done Florida, the touristy thing, 5 or 6 times, but I've never ventured outside of Florida really. So yeah, New York's on the list to go to. And as you say, grab a pizza and go for a walk. Oh, that was my New York accent there. Did you like that? Walk. Yeah. Grab a coffee. Yeah. Okay, bud. Next piece of artwork or item or whatever you've got to show. What have you got?
I'll show you the book that's in my picture.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So I got this book years ago. I was part of the CGC forums, and
Right.
so I don't remember who, but someone stated, "Oh, does anyone want a headshot from Arthur Adams?" And he showed examples that were amazing. So this was $300 at the time. Something like this now, probably 1,200 US.
Yeah.
But
Look at the detail on it, but I mean, it's absolutely
one,
phenomenal.
this was 2014, so 10 years. And so I took a chance. I sent this book, and I waited, and I got concerned because it took longer than I expected. But my history now and experience with commissions, like sometimes it just takes the time it takes.
Yeah.
And so I got this in the mail, and my jaw dropped because I was just expecting a headshot. I was not expecting the level of detail, shading, the claws right here. I was just like stunned. And to boot, I've got that grade. I can't really complain.
Yeah.
So
that's an amazing piece. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
And I would recommend, get my rule of thumb is these things don't go down in price in terms of what they charge. They're not going to charge one price and then they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to bring it down. It never happens.
Yeah.
So if you have like one of the rules I would give out is if you have the opportunity to get something, get it now.
Yeah.
And then the other rule is if a commission is greater than the price of their published work, just buy their published work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
A lot of people buy headshots for that same price from people who haven't been in the business that long. Yeah. And I'm like, I'd rather just own an original art published page than do.
Absolutely. Just out of interest, then, on that book, it kind of prompts a question from us. Where do you stand on the grading of artwork? And the reason I ask is I got 2 commissions done recently by Aaron Bartlett, who did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin, that famous kind of the spectres of the turtles stand behind them, Last Ronin 1.
Okay.
Stunning artwork. He did us a really, really nice Thor and a Ghost Rider. But the grades when they came back were 8.0s. And I don't know, I kind of wish it didn't have the grade on the book. It was just standing as the artwork. Do you know what I mean? How do you feel about that?
I had a similar situation where, and I'll say the name of the artist, Angel Medina. I had to connect to him through a third party who was taking commissions on his behalf. So he said he had a blank cover. I'm like, all right, put it on blank cover. So just to CGC, I get it back. It was a really nice image of Spider-Man full figure swinging.
Yeah,
it was an 8.5. And I'm like, why is it an 8.5? And I looked at the book. It was total. Like, I didn't know. I was just going by what he, and that's another rule I have. It's like, if you're going to submit a book like that, make sure it's a book in your collection and make sure it's near mint condition. Because if you ask an artist to do that, sometimes they won't be as careful with your books as you are with yours, like yourself. So you're always taking a chance putting artwork out, like books out like that, and something like that may happen. That's happened on 2 occasions, but I would prefer a higher grade. I don't know if CGC does like an art label. I know that CBCS does.
Yeah.
There's a creator on YouTube who only puts his artwork that's on blank covers through CBCS as art, labeled as art. Comfortable with that. I think it's up to you, really. I mean, I take a chance. I know submitting these things, I always take a chance. So I can't be surprised if a book comes back lower, although there are some instances that I'm like, why? I don't see the now
it's strange because it's never been an issue for me before, and I've submitted maybe 8 or 9 bits of artwork until I got these 8 back, because previously I've always been very lucky and had 9.6s, 9.8s, but as soon as it came back as an 8.0, I was like, oh, that's kind of detracted a bit.
And I think part of it, I mean, I don't intend like to buy this just to sell it and flip it.
Yeah.
Like I normally would. I mean, it's rare that I do. If I do, there's reasons behind it. Usually it's to get bigger and better pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we all take a chance. We do the best we can. And I think at the end of it, what matters more, the artwork to you or the grade?
Yeah,
and that's something everyone has to sort of contend with. I know I had to when I got that 8.5. I ended up selling it through a big art sale to Anthony Snyder Comic Art to another purchase. So
very good. Dead Man Terry's just saying Rob Fatstacks always has them with art on because they. I've seen a lot of Rob. He always sends it to CBCS to get the art label. Hang G, does the grade even matter on original art? That's kind of the point. Hang J, I think you're right, mate. I think it almost detracts from the artwork for me, because I am a bit fixated with grades because of the CGC thing, So I think I probably would be happier just getting it labelled as art. I don't know. I more recently have had a commission, and I'm scared to send it to CGC because the condition of the book doesn't seem great, but I want to preserve it. You can, like we were saying, James, you can send it to CBCS and they'll put an art label on it rather than a grade label, and then you just get it literally in a case, but it still preserves it. It looks very, very cool. Okay, next question for you, bud. Favorite hero? Who's your favorite go-to hero?
I would say Batman, hands down. I mean, I got indoctrinated as soon as I saw the 66 series, Challenge of the Super Friends, and then it like went to a new level when Batman the Animated Series hit, Fox Channel, and I was just like, what? Yeah. I mean, I remember the artwork. Back when we had TV guides, I cut out the artwork from the cover of that TV guide. And I was just studying the art because I'd never seen a square jaw like that. Yeah. I was so curvy, like faces and features, and everything was blocky. And I was like, and in a way, I didn't realize until later, there was like an almost influence from Jack Kirby's blockiness, which when I was a kid, I didn't like at all, but as an adult, loved. And I felt the same way about the artwork for the animated series that Bruce Timm created for that show. And so ever since that show and the stories and the artwork, and I've been addicted since.
Yeah. What's your favorite Batman tale? Have you got one, a run or a mini or anything like that?
Batman tale. That's a good question. There's some good ones, like, and it's hard to pin down. It's like choosing a hero. Like, I like the Venom storyline. Yeah. That was in Legends of the Dark Knight. That was one of Russ Braun's first pieces of work.
Is that the one where Hugo Strange is in it at the end?
No, well, no, I don't know about the end. No, this one involves how the Venom, the drug, was invented, and so it explores Batman's use of it, reliance on it, and then his eventual cold turkey of it. Yeah. And was written by Denny O'Neil and beautifully, illustrated, inked by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, who's an amazing artist. But he inked that series. Russ Braun, one of his early works before he started doing other works. He's now known for The Boys. But that's a cool one. What else? I always liked, the Maxi series. So you'll get, Dark Victory, Long Halloween. Hush was fun, although the surprise wasn't really a surprise, but it was a fun series. But that was elevated by Jim Lee's artwork. That just that brought a lot of people back to the Dark Knight. I'm sure I'm missing others that people...
No, some great picks there, mate. Some great picks.
But I mean, I love Batman.
So another Bat-related question then, and there's only one right answer to this question. Out of all the movies, who's the best Batman?
Wow.
I'm loving the concentration in your face now.
Because I'm thinking back to Keaton.
Yes, that's the right answer.
How even with that newest movie he was in, he was still kicking ass.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't crazy about that movie, I felt bad because it was one of those things where it's like, you want someone like that to come back to an epic story, and it was such a letdown of a story.
Give us Keaton coming back in Batman Beyond. Do you know what I mean? Give him the old man Bruce Wayne kind of run.
I would love that. That would be a nice send off for that character, as well as, passing the torch, if you will, to a new character. But you asked me my favorite. Part of me has a soft spot for Adam West.
Yeah.
And I know it's, he's not exactly svelte, and I know he's not and he could be cheesy, but damn, man, when I was a kid, I thought that was like the epitome of class. He had his, his suit, and then he's just, and then he changes and he's doing his thing and he's taking charge. I took that seriously as a kid. So
yeah, me too. It's interesting. So on my channel, I do a series with a good friend of mine, James Keegan, where we look back at old movies and review them. Yeah. And we reviewed Batman 66, the movie, recently. I've always had that as a very kind of silly in your head movie.
Sure.
But it's quite dark at times. But I mean, at one point, Batman literally says, "I will kill you all." When he's talking to them, it's like, oh, I don't remember this, but very cool. Yeah. I love Adam West. I absolutely love Adam West. MJ Comics is saying George Clooney fan. Yeah. Adam West is the correct answer. Von Hoot is agreeing with you. And I'm still desperate to see the Batgirl movie. I cannot believe, Von Hoot, that's not been leaked. I mean, crikey, we got the Fantastic Four leak. I'm surprised,
But that Fantastic Four leak, I mean, from a studio that was small, that didn't spend much money, I'm not surprised it leaked, as opposed to a titan like WB, where it's just I don't know. I'd be curious to see it too, just for morbidity's sake. But yeah. I mean, Brendan Fraser looked interesting in it, and some of the stills were so of it. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen it. Okay, bud, show us something else. What else have you got? I will show you. I was teasing it, so I might as well show you now. I was going to show you later, but I'm like, screw it. So no. So I was a huge fan of the Thor run done by John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson, and Dan Jurgens.
Yeah.
Basically Thor showed up through a different character, an ambulance driver in New York City. And so...
Is it Jake something or other?
I think so. But Jake Olsen. That's
it. Jake Olsen, yeah.
I'm reading it here. And so, by chance, all three of them showed up to Terrificon out in Connecticut, which, if any of you decide to fly out to Connecticut for a show, that's probably the best show in the Northeast on the East Coast for a convention, and got that.
One of my all-time favorite covers.
Yeah,
that's stunning. That is stunning.
So yeah, I was I had this book for a while. I love the series. I collected it until I think after Andy Kubert left, I stopped collecting.
Yeah,
this series, but I loved it. It's a fun series, great artwork.
Yeah,
bold, in your face, and so I had to get all three of them on this book. I was fortunate. So, and then to get the grade I did, I couldn't complain at all.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. And that was a really cool run of books, The Hero's Return. It was after the kind of the Image revival thing, wasn't it? Where they had Liefeld and all those kind of guys doing stuff.
Yeah, they brought back the people who left them.
Yeah.
The books that weren't, I mean, the artwork seemed better than the stories themselves. Yeah. And then afterwards, they one of the runs that came back that I loved was Captain America from
Mark Waid, was it?
And Ron Carney. They were killing it on that title. And so much so they created a new one, Captain America Sentinel and Liberty. That was out for like a number of issues for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Captain America fan. He's one of my favorite characters. And I remember reading, I can't remember if it was the first issue in that run or very early on in the run, and there's a brilliant scene where he's on a boat and I think there's a lot of narrative about how him and his shield are almost one,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the shield goes overboard and he loses the shield. It's just, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, next up we've got Fuzzy Dunlop. Nice to see you, Fuzzy. I hope you're well, friend. Hope you're well, bud. Next question's always an interesting one. Tipping point. What cheeses you off? What grinds your gears or gets on your nerves? What's likely to make you pop?
I would say people who aren't who are rude, who aren't conscientious of others, are dismissive.
Yeah.
You know, I think if someone's looking to get your attention, see what they need. You never know.
Yeah.
You might be able to help them and make their day better.
Yes.
Stupid people. A lot out there. More than I would like. I mean, you see it every day going throughout the city. But that type of thing. But
So you're in New York then? Is it a friendly city? Is the hustle? Because it always seems like there's a lot of hustle and bustle. Do you know what I mean? Like people are busy.
It is a hustle and bustle city. It's one of those things where we don't like slow walkers. If you know where you're going, go there. Don't stop. Some people will take a phone call at the stairwell of the subway. And you're like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this right now? Oh, they're stopping in the middle of the subway to do the phone call. I'm like, what are you doing? But I mean, if you need help, people are, and you ask that they be friendly to do so. They may be cautious because there's all types out there. And so, there's an air of question. But I mean, I try my best to be a good citizen of the city. If anyone needs help, I especially like to assist people when they look lost. So I'll see someone on the subway, like they don't know where they're going. So I'll ask, do you need help with anything? And they'll let me know. And then from there, I help them accordingly. Or, or do you need me to get that? Because I'm like 6'2", and some people can't reach the supermarket. I'm like, there's just paper.
Good stuff. Very nice. That's a great answer, mate. Great answer. Okay, show another item.
I will. I'm kind of skipping around here and there, but I will show some Golden Age. How about? Not Golden Age, Silver Age.
Okay, yeah. So
I attended a convention, Big Apple Con, a number of years ago. I want to say this was because CGC has it listed, 2014. So there were two big names that showed up at this convention.
Oh, look at that.
Steranko and Joe Sinnott.
Yeah.
So I love this cover.
It's stunning, isn't it?
I didn't think it was going to get that grade. I just love the way it looked. Because I picked up other books before. They didn't get as great a grade. And I sold those. But, I mean, can't beat Joe Sinnott.
Yeah. Just stunning. And that's one of those all-time classic covers, isn't it? It's just beautiful. And also, I'm not being funny, but for that particular book, great signature placement as well, because the last thing you want is the signature slapped on the American flag. Do you know what I mean?
Or across the face like Stan likes to do.
Yeah. Stan would sign it, right across the face.
Like, what are you doing, Stu? But, I've seen some people call it the roach.
Yeah.
The roach, because after a while it'd be so small and you wouldn't know what. That book, this particular book, I was thinking of having him sign, but a lot of people told me don't chance it just because it's like you don't know where he's going to sign or how that signature is going to come out.
Yeah.
I have two Stanley Sigs and they came out great.
Yeah.
But again, this was at a time where he was still, okay.
Yeah.
Towards the end, his signature got really bad.
Yeah.
I feel like they took advantage of him towards the end, in my opinion.
So you obviously managed to get to a fair few cons. Do you ever have the opportunity to meet Stan? I
did, yeah. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd show up late to signing, but I mean, it's Stan Lee. He's going to take his time. He was old at that point. When I started getting books signed, I thought he was going to die like the following year. So I was like trying to get books signed. He lived another 10 years. I didn't know that. That's just like. But it is what it is. You don't know what you know. And so, very sweet man. Very sweet. I remember telling him, thank you so much. He's like, no problem. And it was very cool. I would go to New York Comic Con. I remember waiting in line in that huge space that they have to get into the show. It didn't open yet, and he was being followed by a crew, and he was waving to people, saying hi, and everyone just like loved him, loved him. Such a sweet guy, sweet.
Yeah. One of my big regrets, I mean, I've got a fair bit of stuff signed by Stan, but I never actually physically met him or got a signature off him in person. And that's one of my big regrets, that I would have loved to have just said hello. Do you know what I mean? Just to have said, I've met Stan Lee, you know?
I personally wish I did those photos that they set up for people. And at the time, I thought it was like, I guess it's me getting older, where, you know, there are people that aren't going to be around anymore. And so I noticed myself starting to take more photos with me and other, you know, creators that I admire and love, and whose work has had a big impact on me. So I do a lot more photos with people like that now than I used to. Before, I wouldn't do any type of photo. You know, I guess it's a,
I think it absolutely is a realization as you get older in life yourself, that actually people aren't going to be around forever. And you see some of you, I mean, certainly from speaking from myself, I see some of my icons and I think, oh wow, I mean, very pleased that recently I picked up a William Shatner signature, but again, he's someone I would love to meet, you know. And if he shouted at us or was rude to us, that would be fine, because he's a bit of a cranky old guy at times or whatever, but I just want to say I've met the Shat, you know what I mean? But yeah.
I get that. Part of me thinks of doing that myself. Like, I picked up that series years ago, City on the Edge of Forever. I wouldn't mind getting him to sign that cover that was drawn. I don't know who drew that first cover, because there were two covers. One looks like from a novella, but it was beautifully drawn. But I get that. And I would say, if you can meet them, do it while you can. If it's within budget and reason, do it.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely. MJ Comics is just saying that his Fantastic Four 48 is signed by Joe and sketched. Wow, me. Yeah. Actually, I'm sure I've seen your video on that, James. But yeah, stick an image on Instagram for what I have a look at, because I bet that's a sight to behold. He's stunning. Okay, bud. Next question for you. Bit of an opposite to the one we've just asked. What's a perfect day in your world? What would be your kind of ideal day?
I'm fortunate. I live in a city where I'm not. How do I say this? I feel if I have a good day, that's a perfect day for me.
Okay, got it.
And the reason I say that is because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, I'm in the U.S. I'm in New York City. Like, you know, I'm doing okay. I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. So I try to focus on what I can do within reason that brings me joy. So anytime I do that, I like to plan. I call them solo dates, or if you're going with friends, you do something that's back to back to back. So I wouldn't mind, you know, I'll go to see a movie at one of those like an Alamo Draft House type, where you can sit down with friends at a small table, see a film, order food, and then afterwards maybe do some mini golf or bowling or just walking through the city. Then you find a dessert spot that you were curious about, or like anything like that. I mean, I could just go to a park, do a picnic, read a book. I'd be set. Like I'm
chilled.
I like being chill like that. Sometimes I'm an ambivert in nature, so it depends on how I'm feeling that day. So sometimes I'm being a little more of an extrovert. Other times I just want to be a hermit and stay indoors.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm very fine with my own time being alone. But anything that involves relaxation, no stress, favorite foods, a good drink, you know, I'm a Moscow Mule kind of guy.
Yeah.
Or cider, you know, good cider. So
very good. So favorite food then? What would be your restaurant kind of style of choice?
Dude, I'm like a Ninja Turtle. I love a pizza. Like I can eat pizza. Like and the good sign of a pizza is it's got to be the breading, the sauce, the cheese, no toppings. Because I feel like if you need toppings to elevate it, it's not as good as a pizza.
Okay.
You gotta
Okay.
eat it as is, and if it's good, then try other things on it, and just to see. And I know they're out with these artisanal pizzas and stuff, and I'm cool with that. But I like an old school New York slice, very thin, crispy, sweet sauce, good cheese. I'm good to go. Like I could devour. I live in Queens, and so I've got like 3 really good pizza spots I could just walk to and get a whole pie and devour in one sitting if I wanted to. I don't want. Part of me wants to, but I'm like, I gotta hold myself.
And of course, you would want a double portion of pineapple on that pizza, yeah?
Funnily enough, I do not mind the ham and pineapple. I know some people, it's sacrilege, and it's just like, hey, and it's just like, how dare you? What are you doing? What kind of human are you? But I
love the fact, like, as I said at the start, you're my first New Yorker on the channel, and you've not failed the stereotype. Do you know what I mean? What's your favorite food? Pizza. You know, fair enough.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a steak and potatoes, I'll make it myself. I'll go to a restaurant, but a good pizza, my Lord.
I'm starving now. I'm hungry. Okay, show another item, bud. What else have you got there?
I'll show you another. Actually, let me do something different. I love Batman. In terms of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I know it's got a huge fan base and a huge following ever since that cartoon came out, and prior to that, the comic series, which I still have to read. I've not read it.
Yeah.
But when I heard that Batman and the Turtles were teaming up, I had to get something. And so I went through a third party through Facebook that I found that was offering sketches by Kevin Eastman.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know. I've never met the man in person, and I know he's always busy at different conventions. So I was like, let me submit a book.
Yeah.
We got this done.
Wow. That's a good Kevin Eastman sketch, because sometimes he just draws the little head,
Which is, If you can't, I mean, and he does it quick, and if you but then I was like, I gotta get the other side.
Oh, look at that, man. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen a Kevin Eastman Batman.
I haven't either, and I was like, I'd be curious to see that. So I had him do Leo in the front, because that's of the 4, he's my favorite.
Yeah.
And my man Bats in the back, and so it was like
stunning.
A little extra for the weapons. So I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
And so it took
9.8.
And I was very fortunate in that regard.
Yeah.
So
that's an absolute beauty. I know. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but MJ Comics is a huge Turtles fan. He'll be salivating looking at that. That's a stunner, an absolute stunner.
Yeah, he'll do simple headshots, but at the time, the offer was the headshot, the remark, and then that, and I think there was a full figure too, but it was like too much for me at the time. Yeah. Like, it made more sense to get both characters for like the price of, I think, of a full figure. I'm trying to remember how it was wild. This was 2016.
Yeah. So. James is saying it's a beautiful mix of 2 of my favorites. Yeah, absolutely.
I thought so too.
Stunning piece, mate. Stunning. Okay, excuse me. Couple of questions for you from the Instagram audience. So whenever I've got a guest on, I put a little post up and ask people to submit some questions. So we've got a couple of interesting ones for you here, mate. First of all, out of your entire collection, what's your favorite piece? So if you had to just grab one piece, what would it be, do you think?
Jesus. I know some people say, "Oh, I can't choose one child," but really, deep down, you can. In terms of artwork, wow. I'm trying to think. It's hard. Like I'm a huge fan of John Byrne.
Yeah.
And his artwork is extremely rare. But I kind of like this one. I'll show you right now.
Oh, wow.
So this is from the Generations 3.
Yeah. I love that run, actually. I love Generations.
I did too.
Yeah.
I ended up picking up the omnibus. So
That's beautiful.
and this is Superboy in Smallville getting stopped by the force field that the parademons have created with the onslaught of Darkseid coming through to 19, I think it was 1940s Smallville. But I mean,
So is that that's his original piece of work?
that is an original piece of art. Yeah.
Wow.
It was just done. It was oddly done, not on DC paper. It looks like it was done. You know how comic books have that not the covers, excuse me, but the boards have a shiny side.
Yeah.
It looks like it was made up with that material.
Okay.
It's shiny. And I have other pages of his that were done on traditional boards that don't look as shiny, but it's got his signature and it's got the original pricing and it's got like liner notes on the sides of what in terms of coloring and whatnot and special effects. But yeah, that's probably one I would definitely take. I'm trying to think of any old artwork. I don't, but the goal is to get that later on. But right now, the easiest thing would be to get like artwork commission based. If I can't get published pages that are that are just too out of range, I get the artist. So, for example, I love the Captain America run that Brubaker did with Steve Epting, and so those pages go for $1,000 and up US. And that book didn't come out that long ago. It's the storyline's famous, as is the because it was seen on in the films in the MCU.
Yeah.
So, the next best thing is to get Steve Epting to do a commission. And I'm thinking he's showing up at Terrificon, so I'm thinking of getting him to do Winter Soldier for me.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Brilliant. Lovely piece of that. This is a tough question that someone's asked. What's more important in comic books, the story or the artwork? That's a hard question, mate.
See, if you only have a story, you have a novel. If you only have the art, you have a piece of art that can be interpreted anyway. And a lot of artists, I'm not going to name names, they know how to draw, but they don't know how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And there's a difference in between that. They're good at portraits, that's fine. But if you can't convey movement to me, that's an issue. I think a lot of times a lot of artists don't know how to do that.
It's interesting. I'm going to give you a kind of a way out here because I think that's a very hard question to answer. We seem over probably the last 10 years or so, we seem to have developed a range of artists that literally just do cover work. They don't do internal work. What are your thoughts on I mean, everybody each to their own, great work and all that stuff, but I don't know, personally I feel like misses something.
I think cover work is great, it's beautiful, but I also think it's part of it's the pay. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck for a cover than doing an entire issue. And so there's that aspect. I also think some people know they can't tell a story. Yeah. So they stick with their wheelhouse. And I respect that. You know? I've not seen like I love Adam Hughes' artwork. He's got amazing covers, but I don't he used to do a lot of interiors. He stopped, but that was when he was starting. You don't see that anymore. He's usually doing covers. And I'm not saying that he doesn't know how to tell a story, but I'm just saying like there's some people that start out that way and they just stick with that lane of coverage, and I get it. I get it. But usually the money first thing, and that's the thing that sells the consumer to pick up that issue to begin with off the stands. But I think you can't have one without the other, honestly.
Absolutely. And a few people in the comments are saying pictures can speak 1,000 words. That's very, very true, James. Highland J, you can have a comic without words, but not without art. That's very true as well. That is very true. Okay, next. Oh, sorry, Dr. Von Hoot. There's no way John Cange could do interiors in his style. Yeah, it's too detailed, isn't it? I mean, his cover work's phenomenal, but it would take him years to do a book, I would imagine. I don't think has he ever done internal work? I don't think he has.
I know J. Scott Campbell years ago was supposed to do an interior Spider-Man series. I think it was like a mini series with Jeff Loeb writing it, and that just never panned out. I thought that would have made tons of money, but
yeah. Okay, next question for you. Oh God, a nice easy one. Greatest artist of all time. Who's your favourite?
I gotta say, John Byrne.
Yeah,
John Byrne. Because I love his X-Men run.
yeah,
And he's a beast in the best way, and I use that word in the best way possible.
yeah.
He's the kind of guy that not only writes, he draws and he inks, and that's a wheelhouse not many have. Like you've got Frank Miller who can do that too, but I more prefer Frank Miller's earlier work and later work than his current. That's
No, I agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah.
But John Byrne, like it felt like anything you threw at him, he was like, all right, I got it. And so, I never read the She-Hulk, so I missed out on that, but I hear good things about it. But
yeah, it was great.
I read, his X-Men run. Then what really hit it for me was that Superman run.
Yeah.
He was writing Action Comics and Superman, and he was drawing one of them. I'm just like, amazing. And then his Fantastic Four run.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, how does he do it? How does he do it? And I don't think and it's one of those situations where if he wanted to, he could still kick ass with his artwork. He released a series of pages. It was called Elsewhen. So he decided to continue his run it's an unofficial run of X-Men that he himself, and he made, I think, 30 issues worth of art that he didn't get paid for, that his rep sells to fans, and it's a lot cheaper than the real quote real pages, published pages that were they're in the thousands. But he still got it at his age. I mean, he knows how to tell a story beautifully. He knows how to lay it out, and it's just like so appealing to the eye. I have not checked those pages out. I think they're on his website. He only has one social media. It's Burntronics, it's called. Yeah. And so if you want to see those pages, you could go there.
Great pick. And he's one of the greats really of the industry, isn't he? Again, someone I'd love to meet.
The amount of work that man has produced and stories. I know he's a curmudgeon, and I know people have issues with him, but when you've got that level of talent, sometimes the ego is kind of like goes with it. I mean, if you look at Michael Jordan and his basketball playing years, I mean, come on, you can't expect people to be like, it's just.
Absolutely. Dr. Von Hoot is just saying here, Daniel Warren Johnson's his guy when it comes to the full package, although he doesn't do his own colouring. Daniel Warren Johnson's phenomenal. I'm a massive fan of his current Transformers run. Do a Powerbomb was amazing. Daniel Warren Johnson's can't remember which con. I think he's at San Diego Comic Con. Von Hoot. I've asked our pal Efren if he can try and grab us a sketch from Daniel, because he's an amazing artist. Absolutely amazing. One of my all-time favourites. And I'm interested if you've got anything by him, because I think it's like gold dust. I never hear of people owning an original piece. Is the amazing Alex Ross. Do you have a Ross piece?
Okay. I wasn't planning on showing it.
Oh, have you got? You've got everything.
It's not. Look, I don't. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
I'm never going to. Like it's a matter of like planning and payment installments.
Yeah.
It's the different people. Yeah. So like that's one of the ways I'm able to get the collection I get is through installment payments. I make deals with people. I have a good history with people and my payment history. Yeah. I don't mess around with money. Like I if I want something, I'll do a deal with you, and we'll make it happen. So I got this piece. So Nick Barucci, he has a channel on YouTube, and on Fridays he sells artwork.
Right.
At the time, I was taking care of my grandfather, and so he went to sleep. He usually went to sleep at 8 o'clock, and I think the show starts at 7:30ish. Yeah. And so I saw that he was selling a cover to a sketch, and I missed out on it, so I couldn't pick it up. So I reached out directly to him, and I asked him, does he have any other Alex Ross sketches on sketch cover? And he said, I have a few. And he sent me a list of pieces. And I ended up getting that.
Oh, shadow. That's
So,
beautiful.
and this is, I didn't think I'd ever get something like this, especially at the price point I got it. It's way cheaper than what he's selling on his site right now. But,
Yeah.
Nick Brucci had a few different types of sketches. And this one I liked a lot, just because you've got the character,
Yeah. Yeah.
The other pieces were like just the eyes or maybe his head, but you wouldn't know it was the shadow. It was just the guy's head,
Yeah.
It could have been Ichabod Craneful, But yeah, and it's got the certificate
Nice.
in the back.
Yeah.
So the goal for me would have been to send this to CBCS, but now I'm hearing information that CGC heard people complaining about
Yeah.
not being able to submit sketches with signatures, so they might reconsider that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not going to submit this until I see someone else submit to CGC and they get it back as that black and gold label as opposed to the green label that would like.
That's really interesting, because when they first announced that, there was some really stupid line about if it had a sketch or a remark, if it detracted from the grade of the book, they would do it. And it was like, well, what does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? What does that mean? So I held off for that reason. So I might just hold my water a little bit as well and just see what comes.
It's like anything. It's like, how people line up around the block for an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can do that. Usually those people are the ones that get the issues with their phone. And then the company realizes what the issue is. And so they then fix the phone, and now you can get it without the issues. I usually wait to see what other people have submitted.
Yeah.
And decide whether or not to do it or not. So that's why I haven't submitted to CBCS yet. Normally I would get, I had someone tell me I should get this pressed. I mean, it's near mint, and it's just pencils. So, and I like the shadow. Like, I mean, it's character before my time, but I mean, like, I thought the movie was okay. It wasn't great, but it was all right. You know what I mean?
Was it Alec Baldwin, I think?
One of the Baldwin and a bunch of other people. Yeah.
So, Stunning. I'm jealous of that one. I love a bit of Alex Ross. Dr. Von Hoot is just saying that Daniel Warren Johnson, his sketches are £1,000 at San Diego Comic Con. Wow, I might have to.
Well, if you go on Alex's Ross site, he sells it through his rep Sal Abenati, I believe his last name is. That gentleman is on Instagram. He's also on X, Twitter.
Okay.
And so what you can do is they're always showing artwork, but usually when it comes to the sketches, the 1,000 pieces are the roughs for covers that eventually paint.
Okay. Very cool.
But I mean, they're nice. But they can be small. They're not huge.
Yeah.
So, this takes up more space. Granted, it's not a cover like a published cover or prelim to a published cover, but I'll take it any day for a fraction cost. I mean,
absolutely.
You have to figure out what your budget is and what you're willing to accept. Some people are okay with spending crazy money, and I can't complain about someone buying a Maserati with their own cash. They made that money. They want to spend it that way. That's up to them. I just got to figure out who can I get, who can I not get, and then do the best I can. Like, I have some favorites. I have tons of pieces from Justin Mason. Justin Mason's up and coming artist. He's worked on Spider-Man 2099. I think he worked on the recent Venom Black, White, and Red.
All right. Yeah.
He's a brilliant artist, but I found him by chance through Instagram, and he's got a little bit of DWJ's artwork as well, that influence.
Well, so in terms of pricing, then you mentioned pricing there, and I remember seeing, I can't remember which con it was, but not so long ago, Jim Lee put out a list of his prices at a con, and they were pretty expensive to get some. Do you have Jim Lee stuff in your collection? No,
I don't, because of the price.
Yeah.
Because of those prices, I don't have a published piece either. I'd rather get a published piece.
Yeah.
If that, he's repped by Albert Moy, and he's been repped by him for years, since I would say like the mid 80s, because I think they met at a convention and they were friendly, and that's how that business happened. And so he slowly grew his stable of repped artists. So Albert Moy also represents Bruce Timm of Batman series artwork. He also reps Eric Larson, which I have some pieces of art from Eric. But yeah, he reps big names. A lot of these people, what they'll do is if you're interested in a piece to own, you can do payment plans.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. Can you afford to, pay $100 a month to and the timeline as well. You can't pay that amount for 3 years and expect to get a pay.
Yeah.
It's got to be reasonable for them so that they're open to the idea of doing a payment plan with you. Yeah. And so, just speak with them. I know if Albert won't change his prices for the artists he reps.
Right.
Like if it's artwork he personally owns that are not related to the people he reps, he may work with you on pricing depending. But I mean, everyone's different. So, but there's no what's the way? It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worst thing to say is no. Okay, you know your answer and the story, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, Jim Lee's great, amazing artwork. I've seen like penciled headshots. He won't do on blank covers, but he'll do on sketch. What do they call it? The penciled covers that people like. I've seen a lot of remarks on that, and that pops out nice. Yeah. I mean, it's up to you. I know he charges for a small headshot, penciled in detail though on the board for like $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it depends on your, what you.
Yeah, I mean, he's again an icon, really, isn't he? He's a phenomenal guy. So yeah, it's certainly something I would be interested in the future, but the price is quite staggering at times.
It is, but you know what? He does them annually, so if he's going to do that, but also buffer in the fact that they might bring up the price. So if it's going to be 500 this year, as an example, it might be 7 next year. Yeah. So thinking that way, plan ahead. That way, when the price comes out, you're not as surprised or shocked. You could just submit the payment, you get it done, and you'll have something in your collection.
Absolutely. Okay, nearly the last question for you,
sure.
Jason. Advice. What advice would you give people? And I'm thinking if you can try and aim it towards the kind of the getting into the art collecting. You've already given us some great advice as the night's gone on, but what would you tell people?
If it comes to in terms of in general, just comic book artwork.
Anything you want.
Okay. In terms of comic book artwork, I would say start small. Don't expect returns. In other words, if you're thinking of this as an investment, don't. If you have, some extra income that isn't, tied to anything and you want to buy something, great. Do it because you're happy to have it. But don't expect to be able to flip it and make crazy money. Don't do that. Yeah. I also recommend if you smoke around your collection, don't. There are people who smoke around their collection and you can literally smell it the minute you walk into someone's room.
Yeah.
I remember selling a book that was signed by, I sold it for a good chunk of change to a gentleman who smoked. And I met him in public. So I asked him, do you smoke indoors too? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, in my head, I'm like,
yeah.
Do what you want in life, but like in terms of collections, they will bring down your price because a lot of collectors will sell thinking they're going to get that big amount. But if I'm smelling the smoke before I even see the artwork or the comics, that's a big issue. So keep that in mind. In life, I think the best thing would be, don't hurt anybody. Live and let live. Try to leave the world a better place than you found it.
Absolutely.
With people. Don't when it comes to talking with people, just hear what they have to say. Try not to judge them. Because we all got our struggles. We all have our things that we're dealing with. And I think, the world could be a tough place to live in. And so it'd be best if we don't add to that. If anything, we should add, better attitude, be helpful, be kind, that kind of thing.
Jason, all of that is perfect. So that's brilliant stuff. And it's interesting you mentioned about, just going back to the collecting side of things, the smoke. I'm a cancer nurse by background. So the smoke and things interesting for us, but the amount of books I've received from things like eBay and stuff like that with the stench as soon as you open, you think, oh. So yeah, when you've got expensive pieces, just do bear that in mind. And everything you've said there about, basically what our class as being a decent human being is absolutely spot on. Couldn't agree more. Okay, Jason, your last item to show, what have you got?
Let me see. Do you want artwork? Do you want signatures? What are you thinking? I've got
show a bit of artwork. Show us some artwork.
Okay, sure. I will show you something I just got today.
Okay.
So this just came in the mail today. I just paid off. And so
oh, look at that.
The recent Spider-Man run.
Yeah.
This is also through McDonald Comics. And so it's all Spidey.
That's stunning.
So what McDonald Comics and Spencer Beck will do are auction style events for John Romita Jr. pages.
Yeah.
This particular page is both penciled, original pencils and inks by Scott Hanna. And so they were auctioning these off. Yeah, Romita Jr.
Yeah.
Let me I can put it up a little more.
It's phenomenal. The detail on it is just amazing.
That's the reason I picked this up. Because a lot of times these pages go for 4 figures. And I got it for 3 figures.
Wow.
Not only did I get it for 3 figures, with McDonald, again, have a good standing. It's about your reputation. You're sharing your stuff, and people want to do business with you, and do right by them by paying them accordingly. And so what I did was, they usually expect payment within 2 weeks, but you could push it to a month if you pay them like a $75 fee.
Yeah.
So I paid the $75 fee, and then afterwards, you could either pay for it through, Save Cash, credit card, or PayPal.
Okay.
Has a good option where you can pay every 2 weeks. So let's say this is, let's say this is an $800 page. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And you already paid $75 to sort of like buy yourself some time to save up the funds.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you can you can use your credit card through PayPal or your debit card through PayPal to make those twice a week payments, every 2 weeks, I should say. And so you're able to pay this off and own it outright without any issues. Well, if it's a credit card, then you got to pay them.
Yeah.
But and again, when it comes to pages like that, it's one of those situations where the more Spidey is, especially with the action, the higher it can be.
Yeah.
So the price point I got it was ideal. I know, I'll tell you now, whoever's interested and whoever wants to buy it, I think Albert Moy does international sales. There's 2 pages right now that you can get from John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna. They're not from this run. They're from the J. Michael Straczynski run.
Oh, yeah.
And the storyline involved Spider-Man talking to a tailor at a diner. But then you'll have some spots where it'll be the Thing in the background waiting for a costume being made, or Captain America in the background. Like, those 2 pages right now are available through Albert Moy for $7.50. But again, you have to pay that outright. With McDonald, this was an auction. There were lots of different pieces. There was another page I almost didn't. And this was the next best one. And I was like, you know what? It's Spidey in every single one. I can't complain.
Absolutely.
It's his thing. And so
I have got this awful feeling you're going to end up sending me down a hell of a rabbit hole here, because I've got a lot of, not a lot, but I've got a fair few sketch covers, but I don't have any original artwork, like pages. Like I tell a lie, I've got a page from the Mark Waid Justice League run he did, Justice League Year 1 or something. But I think
from this guy, that maxi series with
yeah,
that artist. I know.
Yeah.
Kitson, Barry Kitson.
Yeah. So I've got a page of that, but I'm thinking very carefully on your wise words, and I'm thinking, you know, I can get a nice commissioned CGC graded cover for I'm talking pounds here, English pounds, maybe £400 if I get a good sketch or whatever. It's not that much more for an original piece of page artwork, is it really?
No, I mean, again, ideally see them in person, get them from the artists themselves.
Yeah. Art
dealers tend to increase it. Like, I've been to Terrificon for the last 4 years, and I always buy a page from Ron Garney.
Yeah.
I love his artwork from Captain America, but I wasn't able at the time to get that artwork.
Yeah.
So I was picking up, I'll show you right now. I have it here. You'll like this one. So this is a Captain America piece.
Oh, yeah.
From his run with Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
It's miniseries. So he's fighting the Super Patriot in this one.
That's amazing.
Hit him in the gonads
with
the hammer, and it's signed by Garney as well as Jason Aaron. I saw him at New York Comic Con last year. What I like to do is I like to get the artist to sign at the bottom.
Yeah.
Back in the day, some artists would sign in the art, which drives me up the wall. So you'll see signatures by John Byrne or Sal Buscema. It'll be right here.
Yeah.
Not the margins, but inside the art. But I mean, it's one of those things where, and I buy it because he's not pricey. I buy it directly. That one I think was $225 or $250.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, and Spencer Beck is his rep. So, and I remember him telling me, well, you could get it from me or you could get it from my rep, but my rep's going to cost you more for it. So, like, I buy directly from the artist. Do it within your budget. If you can't buy the published page, see if you can get a commission.
Yeah.
Headshots, busts, then full figure. If you can't afford a full figure or bust, get the headshot. That's how we started with John Romita Jr.
Yeah.
Right now, you can get a full figure, but you're going to pay through the nose as if it's published, and it's not. But I got a page that was less than published. Well, that was less than the commission charges for a full figure. And, you know, I can't complain. Like,
it's interesting. I mean, I know each to their own and everybody's got a different taste, but I've seen a lot of full figure commissions, but then I've also seen busts that I think are much more detailed and in proportion to the cover. And so I think I would normally lean towards a bust, to be honest.
Yeah.
Depend on the artist, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some people do chart, and some people don't even do busts. Some only do headshots or full figure. Like, everyone's different, man. So you gotta do your homework. Some of these people are on, you know, social media. Some aren't. So you have to figure out which social media. I know Eric Larson stopped doing X/Twitter, and he's on Threads. But who the hell else is on Threads?
Yeah.
I'm not going to create another account. But he's currently on Facebook too. So he'll usually let you know if he's going to be at a show or not.
Yeah.
So
I said last question, but I'm gonna have to ask you one more thing then.
Go ahead.
We mentioned the King earlier, Jack Kirby. Do you have any Jack Kirby artwork?
Oh, no.
No.
That's like another level. Like, I would need to get a job and sell myself in the streets.
Yeah.
Page from Kirby. I mean, if I were to get a page, even if it was just his, you know, the stuff he isn't well known for or isn't as much loved, like, I would get a page of Superpowers, even though that's not prime Kirby. It's still Kirby. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't crazy about, there's some titles I wasn't crazy about, but I don't know why, but I do like the Demon. I don't know what it is or why. It makes no sense to me. Yeah. But, I mean, I love his runs on Fantastic Four, his initial run on Cap. I don't know much about his run on back when he went back to Cap again years later in the mid-70s, but I do like that artwork too. Yeah. So
Ryan, sorry, Luke's asking here, do you have any Ryan Otley pieces?
I'll tell you a quick story. I don't, but I almost won one. The page was being sold through Comic Art Fans. Comic Art Fans, what they'll do is they'll get two two art dealers and two people who buy artwork, and they just decide to sell artwork to sell on the channel. And I was bidding on one page that I missed out on, and it was like for $6.50, and it was a splash of Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson. Mm-hmm. And for that same price, he currently charges for a headshot, if that. Yeah. I'd rather get a published page than a full color headshot. But that's me. Again, some people they're satisfied with that. Great. With me, my money's on published. Yeah. And if it's,
Yeah, amazing. One who'd saying the demon is freaking awesome.
Yeah. I can't justify why I like the character. I just like the way it's drawn. It's weird. And like Jim, when he was drawing him during the animated series, I kind of dug that too. And I'm not a monster guy either. I like horror movies, but I'm not like, I don't know.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So tell a little bit about where people can find you, and please, just everybody in the chat, Jason will send us some links for all of the, I suspect there's going to be a lot of people excited by your talk tonight because it has been brilliant. And we're going to be hitting those websites to see what artwork we can get. So you will send us some then. But tell people where they can find you, mate.
Sure. You can find me on all social media under the title Patron of Comic Art. I'm mainly on Instagram a lot. That's where I do the most interaction with people and showing stuff. A lot of stuff I couldn't show today because of the time frame. But I mean, I have a lot of different stuff I share. I share events I go to. I share places I've been to. I like attending burlesque shows in the city, and so a lot of them tend to be themed. I went to one last weekend that revolved around the X-Men, so I'm going to be editing that video and then posting that soon, so people can check that out. I'm on X. I have a small, presence on there, but I'm mainly on Instagram, X. I'm also on YouTube. I just started my channel, so if you want to follow me, great. I have a lot of short videos, and I just put a big one based on an artwork show I went to. I would say back in April, and I had it edited, and so I decided to sadly rush the intro and outro. But I mean, it's good content if you're interested in checking out what a convention for comic book art, exclusively comic book art, looks like. And
so thank you so much, Jason. This has been an absolute pleasure. I've done a fair few of these shows now. But I have to say I have absolutely enjoyed tonight because it's just been entertaining and really interesting. So thank you so much for sharing your collection with us. And please, everybody, do go and follow Patron of Comic Art. The link's down below there, over on Instagram and on YouTube. Go and give him some love on YouTube. Make sure you're subbed up to him. It'd be nice if we could get him some subs tonight. That would be tremendous.
I really appreciate it.
No problem. It's been an absolute pleasure. Honestly, I'm not bullshitting. It has been a pleasure talking to you tonight. Just a few things before we go, ladies and gents. Just to let you know, we've got a fair bit happening over on the channel at the moment. We've got weekly live shows. Ask Us Anything, Pop Culture Catch Up, Geeky Art Attack, and Let's Talk Toys, and then a whole host of usual videos and stuff over on my channel. If you know of anybody that would be interested to take part in This Is My, get them to give us a shout. Always looking for interesting guests. We've had a fair few over the last few weeks, and our next one will be on the 6th of July, and it's Cliff on Comics, so that should be fun. And that's your whack. Lots of people in the comments saying thank you very much and saying that they've added you on Instagram, which is great, and thanking you for your time. It's been absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat. You guys have been fab. And can I just say once again, I'm gushing here, but you have been a brilliant guest. So thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. And we'll call it a night there. I've kept you for an hour and a half, so I do apologise. And with that, we'll call it a night. So thank you very much, everybody. And we'll catch you all next time. Bye.